How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to the Calling Dallas-Fort Worth. We are here, round 9. We are in the middle of a sweet draft pod, and I think we're just going to jump right on in to another match. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it. And in fact, I think I recognize one of these players as we jump in. This is going to be a mirror match for round number 9. We're going to play Briar versus Briar, and I recognize one of these names as a fellow content creator for the game. I believe Steven is part of Team Covenant. Is that true?
I believe so, actually.
I think it is. So I think we're going to jump into this game here just in a second, and that'll be interesting. I've never seen him, or I guess we haven't seen him on camera here today. We've seen him, if you've watched any content, you might have seen him play. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays and how he fares here against Alec Myers in round number 9. This is the last match of round number 9 before we get to round 10.
We have both 8-0 Briars. These are some spicy Briar decks, I would imagine.
And this is interesting too, because in 8-0, I think you have the ability perhaps to drop the game here and be totally fine going into tomorrow. You don't really probably worry about it, but it's still going to be a very interesting match because you don't really want to put it to chance.
So we do have a Singeing Steelblade kicking this match off from Alec, getting that, guaranteed arcane damage in and making one of those embodiment of Earth. One interesting thing, both players have the exact same equipment loadouts. They only have the Sutcliffe's Suede Hides, and I think that card is going to be very important in this match as well.
Yeah, when you choose to use Sutcliffe's Suede's Hides and make the most value out of it, that's going to be the interesting thing.
And I think Steven here is just very, very happy, just like, I'll just block it out. I'll draw up for my turn, kind of get a mulligan here, and, follow my turn up with possibly something even spicier.
That's right. I do think we've seen Alec on stream before as well. And I think
so.
In Sealed, he was also playing Briar. So it's going to be interesting to see him continue to play Briar throughout this game, I guess, because we may not see him next round. But it's going to be interesting to see his prior knowledge playing Briar and obvious success at 8-0 come into play.
Fantastic showing so far with Briar in all aspects of Limited here. So just a great Briar showing from Alec here. So Steven is going to kick off his turn with a very powerful card. This is a
the casual yellow Earthlore Surge.
Coming in for +4?
+4. Nice and easy.
Nice and easy. Cash +4.
And an Entwine Lightning, which is interesting. Probably no fuse here, I would guess. But even if there's no fuse, if that's a red, it's coming across for 8. A yellow comes across for 7.
I mean, 8's a pretty big number when your starting health total is 20.
Yeah, both of these attack a really strong breakpoint of 2 block 3s, possibly from hand, and neither of those are very happy. So maybe you just say, I'm going to block with 2 cards from hand, take 2 damage. You can create your nice little token over there, and I will play a 2-card hand with an arsenal.
Yeah, and then Alec does have that Embodiment of Earth, so all of his non-attacks will block for 3, so it is much easier for him to actually do that, block for 3. And
he's going to full block it.
Big block here.
Yeah, that's going to be a full block. He's going to rip 3 cards from hand, leaving him with a card from hand and arsenal.
I mean, that's not. I mean, like if I'm Steven here, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Your opponent just got rid of almost their whole hand.
Yeah, barring something absolutely insane in arsenal and in hand, you basically just ripped tempo as hard as you probably could. Outside of taking all 4 cards somehow, you ripped tempo really, really strong, and this is just going to come across.
Not too bad.
Fusing with the Arcanic Shockwave from Arsenal. It's going to take the Arcane point, and you do want to push Arcane damage in this matchup because
100%.
You don't know if there's a way for your opponent to ever deal with Arcane, particularly with both of you playing Suede Hides.
Yeah, for sure. And so if this is a red one, it is coming in for 4, so it's still a really great break point. Coming in for 4, did that 1 point of Arcane damage. And Steven here is going to, debate whether or not, how big of a turn he can set up, what cards he wants to block with, and how he can, sequence things while maybe taking a little bit less damage. Or
I just want to point out, I absolutely love. This is a non-competitive thing. I love that both players are talking to each other, and you can see Steven in the bottom. He's like chuckling. He feels very laid back and light. Perhaps that's because neither player feels particularly threatened being on some sort of a cutoff bubble, being at 8-0. That being said, I just love just the experiencing the game with someone else. Yes, it is high-level play, but they're enjoying themselves, and I like that.
I think that is a great point to make. I think there's been a lot of fantastic camaraderie this entire day, and I love to see it. I absolutely love to see it. Steven did block with a card that I would consider a decently high-value card, a card that does have the words arcane damage on it.
Blocking with a blue Singeing Steelblade is what it looked like, but perhaps this turn is just going to be slightly bigger if he plays towards this Earth side of things. So Weave Earth Yellow is going to give a +2 buff.
It's a pretty good way to start. If it is fused, it will get the extra buff. We do have a Burgeoning from Arsenal, so we'll get an extra +1 from being played from Arsenal. So, I mean, this is a pretty sizable attack here.
That's right.
So, if you're sitting, Alec, here, you have a little bit of a life advantage. Not a huge life advantage, but you have a little bit of a life advantage.
You're at the tempo loss is where you're at currently, and so you're trying to find a way, even though you have a 3-life lead, both players are still very healthy in this scenario and very apt to block a little bit and then take some damage. That being said, you need to find some way to stop any sort of tempo loss and try to steal some back yourself. So a 2-card block here, taking a little bit of damage perhaps, and then maybe swinging back with a 3-card total kind of hand, 2 cards in hand, 1 in arsenal.
Yeah, I think these are very, I don't want to call them conservative blocks, but they feel a little bit like that. They're not, just taking the full hit and trying to come back with their entire hand. They're playing a little bit of a safer Briar game than we've seen earlier today, where it's just like, I'll take 7, then I'll come back with 8. Like, we're seeing a little bit more of a tempered gameplay here.
Yellow Lightning Surge coming from Arsenal means it's attacking for 3 with Go again.
A very nice one to play from Arsenal.
It is. It does generally just require a 1-card block if you do have a block for 3, and because the Embodiment of Earth token is up, every non-attack action card will block for 3.
That embodiment of Earth token is such a very, very nice boon to Briar. Being able to block with all these cards that you want to play in your deck anyway is just so nice. And sometimes it can pop off and you can just block for 5. But even blocking for 3 here is a very nice place to be.
Most definitely. It makes things a lot more comfortable as the blocking player when you can guarantee that something is hit and just create one of those. If you've run enough non-attack actions. Now, if you're drafting and you just casually forget to draft non-attack action cards, I'm not speaking from experience, but I'm speaking from experience.
Oh, no.
I will say I have done that on accident. I just didn't have enough non-attacks. I realized it in the last pack. Then you can't make use of Embodiment of Earth tokens, so don't forget to draft non-attacks, even if they don't feel like they play the best, because you can still play them, or you can still block with them, I should say, with those Embodiment of Earth tokens.
And just for Briar, just having those non-attacks with Go Again help really set up those turns where you can non-attack, attack with Go Again, and then Rosetta Thorn, which I think is like the kind of baseline play you really want to have a really nice turn that they're pretty happy with.
You see, when I drafted, that was my first draft of Tales of Aria, and when I drafted it, I thought to myself, man, I've got a lot of attacks with that deal Arcane, and I dealt some Arcane, but there were times where I could have gone even wider had I had more non-attacks. And he does just take the damage from the first attack, followed up by an Entwined Lightning, fusing with a Heaven's Claws, perhaps the most beautiful foil in the game.
I agree. It is very, very nice looking. And so the fact that he's fusing it, right, means that he fully intends on following this up with another attack. So that signals to Steven, like, hey, I'm going to attack again, right? So this is not the only thing coming at you.
Yeah, fusing here, of course, does give you the Go Again effect on Entwined Lightning. I don't believe he has... well, let's see. This was a 2-card hand and a 1-card arsenal, right? So this, so this is the full extent of his hand. So if he pitches the card away, he can attack with a Rosetta Thorn. But that Rosetta Thorn's only attacking for 2. It doesn't come across for 2 and 2 because he didn't play a non-attack this turn. So there is a little bit of less value here, and it may incentivize Steven to block less.
Yeah, that's definitely true because Steven can see this. This is all on the board, right?
Correct.
And it looks like he is considering at least blocking with a card.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said, and we've talked about it all day. If you are playing against a Briar player, keeping a higher life total and trying to maintain a close gap in life is very advantageous to you throughout the game because you don't want to get at a huge life disparity, and you don't want to get in range of just being arcaned down.
So he's going to block with a Vela Flash here. It's going to hit so
He's
Exactly.
going to pitch away for exactly 2 Rosetta, and he's going to take the 2 Rosetta here, obviously dropping down to 13. Maybe even less. It'd be dropping down to 12, I believe, because the Entwined Lightning's probably a red, and the Vela Flash blocked for 3, so he'd take a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that on that
Going
turn.
down to 12, it looks like you said.
Down to 12.
And so let's see how Steven follows that turn up. I know, just like you were saying, like, I've had many Briar games where, ooh, this is a good one.
Electrify is such a good card. This is top 2. I'm going to put it that way. This is my top 2 cards in Limited for this set. Playing Electrify, pitching a blue in this example, really gives you what feels like a 5-card hand because you draw for the Electrify, and you have a hand of cards that you basically started with anyway, except now you're floating resources.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You still have that Electrify effect just kind of sitting around, waiting for later in your turn.
Sure.
You still have, like you said, those 2 resources. So this could be a turn where you see. Okay, so this one's a pretty sweet one to follow it up with.
Arcanic Shockwave. If he can fuse this, it does deal Arcane. It looks like he's not choosing to fuse it. Perhaps he just doesn't have the Lightning card. That's why you wouldn't fuse it. And this is just going to come across for pure damage, it looks like. Maybe it's the yellow, so this would attack for 3. And then I'm guessing that's a blue Electrify, so it would only pump 1. Oh, no, he's not gonna let it come across.
He's like, nah, I'm just going to block it.
Yeah, there's no go again attached here either, so you're not too worried about any follow-up. There's a 2-card hand. Ah, there it is. There's the follow-up. And this is what we talked about at the beginning. When do you use the Sutcliffe Suede Hides? And Steven has chosen on this turn to use the Sutcliffes so that he can push a 2-2 with the Rosetta Thorn.
I think that's a great call. Like, this is a time to use it. I can push in that extra damage and just guarantee 2 Arcane and kind of just even it up.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I wasn't actually expecting the pop on Sutcliffe there.
Neither was I, honestly.
Because perhaps you just save that for an even larger turn. But it does exactly what you said. It evens the playing field. It keeps that life disparity very, very close. Obviously, in this case, they are equal.
Yeah, 100%. And so, I mean, it helps get a little bit of that tempo back, right? And that's really what you want to do. And like you said, lessen that life gap. And I was going to say a little bit earlier, I've been in a bunch of Briar matches in Limited where I get to the point where my opponent has maybe like 1 or 2 health, and I just can't close it out. They finish me with that arcane damage.
Oh, Alec, looks like he's fusing with a lightning press from hand. So this is the play that you've talked about enjoying very much.
I love this play. So this is a Bramble Spark into an Arcanic Shockwave that is fused with a Lightning Press. So it's going to do 2 points of arcane damage, and then he's showing you the card that he can literally just play on top of the Arcanic Shockwave. So it's a very interesting situation, right? Because it could force your opponent to overblock, knowing that they have this instant effect card in their hand that can pump. And so if they choose to overblock, you can just be like, I don't play it. I just save it for later. Or you can block the exact amount so you end up taking some damage and force them to play that card.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting line here, and I really, really like Lightning Press for this reason because it's a great card to fuse and then immediately play in the same turn.
Yeah, it's also perfect in this exact moment where the life was equal. They were at parity. Both players were at parity. In fact, Alec was a little bit behind because he didn't have a full grip. Oh, and he's going to use the Suede Hide so that he can come across with his own Rosetta Thorn, thanks to the fact that he's played both. Sigil of Suffering.
Nice. Very, very nice.
Deals a point of Arcane, blocks it out fully. It looked like it was only a blue Arcanic Shockwave, but just saying, you know what, I'm just going to play the Sigil right now.
And I love that he reacted to the Sutcliffe's reaction with that defense reaction.
Yes, which you can definitely do, and obviously you would do.
And so it looks like we're going to see the Lightning Press that get pitched.
Yep, and you have a 2-2 here.
Yeah, very, very. I love this turn.
Takes the 2 Arcane, of course, and then deciding whether or not to take 2 physical. I feel like, depending on your composition in your hand.
I mean, he's sitting at, 3 cards in hand?
I think it's 3 cards in. No, you know what? It's probably a full 4-card hand, and he's just going to take the damage because that was a Sigil from Arsenal, I believe. So he has a 4-card hand, and depending on your hand composition, you are incentivized to just play out as many things as you can because Briar is so much better on a 4-card hand. Fusing effects, getting pluses from like Brambles, getting arcane damage pushes.
One thing to note that Alec
playing Fulminates, just playing Fulminates.
Oh no, okay, let's see if he's going to do the full fuse. because Fulminate is a card that you can fuse with either lightning
just with the earth, so
or earth.
just giving that plus on the attack. So not fusing with the lightning, so no go again on this next one, but it is going to give a nice big old buff.
Interesting. Okay.
Into a Singeing Steel Blade.
So it's a slightly more threatening Singeing Steel Blade. The Singeing Steel Blade will still do that arcane damage. It's important to note at this point that Alec does have 2 Embodiment of Earth tokens, so that will pump up his non-attack actions, though I can see in his hand he does have a Lightning. Oh, no, that's not a Lightning Press. That is a Weave Lightning. So
yeah, Weave Lightning will actually get the buff, yeah.
Yeah, so that will block for 4, which is, it's a great card to have, and it's a great card to play, but it could also just be a great card to block for 4 in this situation if you need to.
I mean, at this point, it's
attacking
attacking for 7, so he's looking at a Singeing Steel Blade that attacks for 7, if that's the red, and it does look like the red. So in this combo, in this scenario, we're seeing a blue pitch card with a fuse, of course, allow you to just push 7 damage and a point of arcane, which is really, really solid in this scenario.
I would agree. I would agree. So Alec here is definitely debating what non-attacks he wants to block with. And we do have a 4-block non-attack and then a 3-block other. So he's just going to block it all out.
Yeah, which you kind of want that. I feel like if you're in Steven's position, you kind of want him to rip cards because you don't want to be at 6 life to 10 life with your opponent having a full grip of cards. That is not what you want. So you love that he chooses to block right there.
This is another Arcanic Shockwave. It looks like he is going to fuse it, which will deal some arcane damage. Once again, getting that Embodiment of Earth and just coming in for a
3. Yeah, just coming in for 3 with
card.
with a Weave Lightning there being the fused card. And you know that's not probably going to do anything for you because there's no go again here, and the Suede Hides for both players have been used.
What I like from Alec here is, like, you know your opponent is at less life than you, and you can still block and then just kind of chip away with these little tiny arcane damage cards. And, like, that's a totally safe place to be. And if I'm in that position, I'm pretty happy, right?
It's what we've seen all day. We've seen Briar after Briar do exactly this. Drop your opponent to this 4 or 5 life total, and then start playing any possible way that you can deal arcane damage, and particularly bonus to you if you can play Ball Lightning Arcane Damage Dealer on the same combat chain, so you can deal 2 because you accelerate the clock even faster.
Yeah, and once you get your opponent down to that like 3-ish life kill zone, it gets really, really hard to stay alive.
Yeah, particularly if you have something like Mark of Lightning, but neither of these players do. So it's even better in those scenarios, but you still have a path to victory in this mode.
I will match your card with one of my own.
Gonna arsenal the Weave Lightning, which you can now track at home. Play along at home, everyone. Track the Weave Lightning in the arsenal.
So very interesting. We do see a Lightning Press in Alec's hand, which doesn't block, which makes blocking maybe a little tricky going into this, even considering that Steven has a decent sized hand and a Carnate arsenal.
Yeah.
So that could definitely come into play here. He does have one token.
I will say this: Alec has an absolute bomb of a hand. If he can survive, he can play a crazy hand of just Rites of Lightning. Maybe you do the Flash first, so you guarantee the go again, deal Arcane, then play the Arcanic Shockwave, deal Arcane, and then Lightning Press. All before you do that, you play the Weave Lightning.
So this is very interesting, right? So Steven's coming in with an Autumn's Touch. And if this is a yellow version, which I think it is, it's coming in just for 6.
That's correct. So he can just full take
and
this
just
here.
Take it. Yeah, exactly.
And this might be, he just drops to 4, and then he could just push for lethal on this moment. Look, Steven gives a look at the camera like,
he's like, oh no.
He full took 6.
No.
This is a problem, and that's exactly what we were just talking about. Maybe you go Flash, maybe you go Weave Lightning.
You could see him do it. So he started off with the Weave Lightning, like you said.
+2 and go again if you fuse your next card. We know that the fuse will trigger. He's going to play the Arcanic Shockwave first, it looks like, because it causes 0.
Yep, but he does have that Flash to fuse.
Yeah, he's going to fuse this,
shows
revealing the Flash.
So it gets that bonus, does the arcane damage, and has go again.
And he chooses the right attack to play first. The blue Arcanic Shockwave pushes 4 damage here.
Yeah, I think that is because it pumps that otherwise not as threatening attack up to a much more threatening level.
Yeah, it's the break point that you don't want to see. And this has guaranteed go again. It deals a point of arcane, which is unblockable. It drops Steven to 4. And now he's left going, how do I live with 3 cards to block because one of my cards blocks for 0 because it's Ball Lightning?
And like your opponent kept their
like
whole hand.
Steven knows.
He's
feels it.
like, oh no, this is rough.
He's gonna 2-card block it And then he's going to see the lightning press after he 2-card blocks here. They're going to keep on going.
Oh no. Yeah, this is pretty brutal. I've definitely been in Steven's situation before. I've been sitting there, and I know how rough it is.
You know what? Maybe this was an Arcanic Shockwave for like yellow or something like that, because he did take a point. It did make an Embodiment of Earth here. He took a point. He let a damage leak, but it's not really going to matter because the Rites of Lightning, fusing, paying, showing the flash here.
The same flash.
Interesting that he shows the flash on the Rites of Lightning. Deals a point of Arcane. Interesting that he shows the flash instead of showing the Lightning Press.
It's because actually that's
pitching the Lightning Press instead of pitching the flash.
But this card, since it deals arcane damage, it will have go again, so we can just follow this up with a Rosetta Thorn.
Yeah, it could be that the flash is red. It could just be a red flash, but it doesn't even matter because the damage comes through and they close it out. Alec picks up the win. And that was a fun one. I really enjoyed that game. That was some high-level Flesh and Blood and a high-level mirror match.
I love how tempered their blocks were. They weren't just like, I take it, swing back, I take it, swing back. They were a lot more disciplined blocks, a lot more like, considering like, what can I block and then get the optimal play on the backswing. I really, really like that give and take in that match.
Yeah, and I think that's I don't want to say that's like more necessary than the kind of winner takes all. You hit me with everything you got and I hit you with everything. But I do think that in the games where we've seen that play style, the one that we just watched, where they are very meticulous about their blocks and about not letting the life disparity, partition, those games have been a lot closer and have been very down to the wire. And so it's very interesting to see these high-level players work their way into that strategy rather than just the devil may care, throw cards at the opponent and see who comes out on top.
I definitely think we'll see more of that today and going into tomorrow.
So with that, we've completed round 9. That leaves us with one round left for this evening. We're going to take a short break, set up for round 10, the final round before we kick off day 2 tomorrow. So don't go away. Give us a few minutes. Let's set up, and we'll jump into round 10 right after this.